Okay. By way of a brief introduction, my name is Colleen Kimmett. My title is Teaching Fellow with the Google News Initiative. I've been in this role a couple years now. For those of you who haven't done a session with me yet, I was a journalist. I was a reporter for the Tyee in Vancouver for many years, and then worked in an investigative news nonprofit and some other journalistic startups. So in this role, I've learned a lot. This is sort of a beginner intermediate training. I'm not going to get too deep into really advanced verification techniques, checking for shadow locations, some of the more technical open source techniques. But in the document that I send out following this session, it does include links to more advanced resources if you want to explore that on your own time. I want to say thanks to RTDNA Canada for organizing this and helping get the word out to their members. This is one of 3 sessions that we're hosting this spring. You might have noticed the date change on the following 2. So we will have a research and investigations training on May 3rd and YouTube for news training on June 7th. That's going to be led by a YouTube news partnership manager in Canada. So I'm excited to have her expertise for that one. As I go through here, and I'll get into the material very soon. Let me know if you have questions in the chat. Put questions in the chat, and I'll pause periodically. I'm not going to leave them all to the end. Usually I'll pause periodically to take those questions. If you have comments as well, if you're using these tools or you have your own tips that I haven't mentioned that you want to share, please put a note in the chat, and I'd love to have you speak up and share what you're learning about misinformation, fact-checking, verification as well. Okay, so I'm going to get started. I'll be flipping between my slides and some live demos. And I'm also going to give you some little exercises, some image verification, image search exercises. So I hope that'll be interesting for everybody. So tools for, as I mentioned, this is my role with the Google News Initiative. I'm not so much on Twitter/X anymore, but you can certainly email me anytime at kimmett@google.com. This is just a little more about what we do at the Google News Initiative. My role is all following under that first point, advancing quality journalism with trainings like this. You can see more on the News Initiative's training modules at g.co/news training. And just once again, I'll send out a big Google Doc, ever-evolving Google Doc with links to all of the sites, resources I mentioned in this session. So today I'm just going to give a quick overview of misinformation/disinformation. I'll look at image and video verification. Some social media search tools, these are changing rapidly, as you may know. And then a word on pre-bunking. So how news organizations, but also nonprofit academic organizations, governments, are attempting to get ahead of misinformation and disinformation by, arming citizens with knowledge, but with also, warnings that, hey, this is happening, look out for it. So this is from the fact-checking organization First Draft. They created this just to sort of delineate different types of misinformation and disinformation. Misinformation being false content, false or misleading content that is shared without necessarily malintent. So people might be sharing it without knowing that it's false, versus disinformation, which has that intent to sow confusion, to give a false narrative. I would say that, most of, and you can weigh on in this as well, what you're seeing as reporters, but, a lot of the myths or disinformation that I see as I, scan different fact-checking organizations is, a false connection or a false content where or some misleading content or satire or parody where perhaps the image is real or maybe it's been altered a bit, but it's shared with a false headline or a false caption. That's changing though, as we know with AI. This is an example of images that were generated around a French protest rally in 2023. You probably know the signs of AI content when it comes to images. So often we see flaws in the fingers. Um, this is the clue here, the officer's six-fingered glove. Often we see ears or just general, it doesn't look right. A shadow might be in the wrong place, or feet or hands might otherwise be blurry or blocky. Um, so as I said, we are seeing more of this type of content. However, there are still telltale signs that it's AI generated and not real. Um, this is an example of a, misleading or misheadlined post. This went viral back in 2008 and then resurfaced again in 2021. It's an image of a UN plane. This was taken from a real article from the Saltwire Network. It was simply a UN plane stopping for routine maintenance in Stephenville, Newfoundland, I believe. But it was shared with misleading captions and headlines like this, hinting at a government conspiracy, media conspiracy, sometimes a migrant conspiracies. So this was more recent. This was a Facebook ad claiming Canadians could earn thousands of dollars in passive income using AI. And it shared videos of purported endorsements from Bank of Canada Governor Tiff Macklem, Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre, actor Ryan Reynolds even. But these clips were taken from other videos, altered, and linked to these unrelated websites. This one, so this again, sort of satire parody, not necessarily intended to cause harm. It's more of a joke, but I think this is a sort of a good example of how an image makes its way through different channels. So this was posted. This is a joke. This person fell asleep on the job. His first week, his coworkers took an image, posted it on the company Facebook page. This ended up on a Reddit channel called TIFU. Today I effed up. From Reddit, it was taken and shared with this misleading, very shocking headline. And this one, I'm sure many of you have seen this as an image that has surfaced after, heavy rain in Texas in 2015, Daytona Beach after Hurricane Matthew, in Houston after Tropical Storm Harvey. Most recently, or I think this example is maybe from, let's see. Oh, okay, Fort Myers. So this was the Florida. It also surfaced in Puerto Rico after Hurricane Irene. So this is a hoax. This image was lifted from a photograph of a kayaker being trailed by a great white shark and pasted into a real photograph of a flooded street. So this is manipulated. I'm curious if there's any other noteworthy examples that anyone wants to share. Please feel free to drop those in the chat. Noteworthy examples of mis or disinformation, social media posts that you noticed going really viral or that maybe you covered as a reporter. I just wanted to draw your attention to the State of the Fact Checkers report. Um, so this is from a international fact-checking network. It's an interesting report. Just for me, it was interesting to see, and I'm going to pop the link in the chat. It was interesting for me to get a sense of sort of the type of fact-checking organizations at work globally. So this is just a couple of pages from the report. You can see that most, and this was 163 members who were surveyed. So most are nonprofit organizations. And most have few, these pages are just a little slow loading. You can take a look at the report yourself, but most um, have few full-time employees. So most are working with 1 to 5 employees. And most are facing some kind of harassment or even physical threats because of their work in tackling false information. And you'll see too that the number of signatory members to this organization is growing. So as misinformation, continues to become a bigger threat, we are seeing more organizations popping up to try and tackle this threat specifically. So I want to get into image and video verification. In all of the examples, those images that I showed you, the shark swimming down the street, the UN plane, all of those were fact-checked, starting with an image search. So I'll show you just a quick GIF of how an image search works. So this is on Google. We're looking at the video of the shark. I'm going to right click, copy image address, and then paste it into the search by image box. So here you can see under exact matching images, and I'll go through a live version of this as well, pages with that specific image, and you can see the number of times it's been fact checked. Now, sometimes some reporters have asked me previously about going back to the old Google image search. So I imagine lots of you have done a Google image search, but I'll give you an opportunity to do one in a minute. With the introduction of lens technology, the interface for Google image search changed. You are able to disable the lens features in Chrome and go back to the old image search. Is that something you're used to doing? One reason you might want to do this, and I'm going to show you another GIF here showing the old image search. So again, a right-click search image with Google. In this case, I've already disabled Lens on my browser. And you can see it looks a little different. You get pages with matching images at the top, but also under Tools, you have the option to search by time range. So that was a useful feature that some people missed in the new Lens image search, but it is possible to go back, disable Lens, and go back to the old image search. That's all in the notes in the big Google Doc I'll share as well. So Maybe I'll just pause for a minute, see if there's any questions or comments, particularly on image search. Is it something you do often? Is it something you've done before or not at all? While you're thinking about that, I'm going to give you an image um, to search. And I'm going to challenge you to give me the location of this image. So let me just make sure it's the right one. So that big long link that I've just posted in the chat, if you click on that, it will take you to an image, to this image. And if you right click on that image and then copy image address, or if you're in Chrome, you can search image with Google. And see if you can tell me, guess where this is. Based on an image search, can you tell me where this is? Obviously, it looks like a generic campus, but if you focus in on that building, you should be able to tell me where it is. So we have one guess, Haverford College. Sorry, that is incorrect.
Is it Cornell?
No. So I took this photo, I know where it is. When I did a Google image search, I was able to narrow in on the building itself and get the right answer. And Colin's got it. Colin's got it. It's Duke. In Durham, North Carolina. So Colin, did you have the same process as me, kind of narrowing in on the building itself? And then, oh, interesting. Joanne says image search says Cornell. I'm going to do it live with you then.
Yeah, I just zoomed in on the building and then it told me Duke. The initial result was Cornell, and then once you zoomed in, it said Duke for me.
Okay, interesting. I'm going to give you another one. But here I'm doing it live. I'm going to go copy image address instead of search image with Google. And then go Google, paste image link, search. And this is how I did it. I zoomed in right there. And got Duke University. Just seeing if any other comments. Okay. I'm going to give you another example. Again, it's going to be a great big long link, but so can you tell me where this photo was taken? The photo I just put in the chat. So this is a little more interesting because we've got more to work with in a way. And I'll get into this with Google Street View as well. But, you know, I can zoom on this. I can see the name of a building, 3 Locks Beer Hall. I can see some interesting architectural structures. I know it's an English-speaking country. I could Google the name of the business. I've got another sign here in the background I could probably read as well. So when you're thinking about verifying images or fact-checking images, think about not just doing a search and seeing what comes up, but what details can you pick out in the image itself as well. Avery's come in first for Camden Market. Yeah, that's correct. That's from Camden Market. So that's the sorry, I'm just getting my next slides up. So that the image search, you know, just about every fact-checking article I read starts with an image search. One of the tools, another image and video verification tool that we see used in fact-checking organizations is InVid We Verify. So this is a browser extension. This is a plugin that you download. You can see the link there, invid-project.eu. And this allows you to search, reverse image search or image search images, but also take keyframes from videos and reverse image search all of those keyframes as well. So in this example, this is just the InVid homepage. You download it. It's a browser extension for Chrome. That's invid-project.eu. This is the live version of the slide you were just looking at. So this is a YouTube video. I just popped the link, the URL here, submit, and then it breaks up my video by keyframe or thumbnail. Any one of these, I can right click on and search the image with Google, or with the InVid browser extension with this plugin, I can also do an image search on Reddit, on TinEye, on Bing, Yandex, Google and Google Lens. So different search engine, different image search engines. So I'm going to click reverse image search all. And you'll see I just had a whole bunch of tabs open. Some of these are better than others. Karma Decay isn't working. This is TinEye. TinEye is an image search. It's a good image search engine, but mostly for, not necessarily for social media images or keyframes. Mostly for keyframes, I should say. But I know photographers who use TinEye to see if their work, for example, has been published without proper attribution. Yandex, this is sort of the big Russian search engine. It's got a powerful image search capability, particularly for buildings or landmarks. And you can see here it has correctly identified, you know, via a gaming website. This was a video about a potential, a false, I think, hostage situation at the Ubisoft building in Montreal. So TinEye, Yandex, and Bing, those are the image search. I'm not going to go through all of these options, but those are the image search engines, and Google, of course, that I'm most familiar with and that are used most frequently. Watch frame by frame. This is another web-based tool you can use to break a video down into thumbnails or keyframes, and then search for those, image search each of those to see if the video has appeared, or keyframes from the video, thumbnails from the video have appeared elsewhere. Watch frame by frame. Amnesty International had a similar tool that, in fact, I used to mention in these trainings. It appears to be not functional anymore, but I just tested Watch Frame by Frame this morning. It's limited to YouTube and Vimeo videos, but it does the same thing, break a video down into keyframes that you can then image search. Fact Check Explorer is another tool that has just recently has a new, I should say, has a new image search function. So this is Google's Fact Check Explorer. You can find it at this. Let me go to a cleaner link here. You can find it here. And Liz, I see your question. Let me get to that in a minute. I would say, well, this is, I mean, it actually feeds in well to this point about this new feature in Google's Fact Check Explorer. So this is, if you're not familiar with it, I just dropped the link in the chat. You can check it out. This initially was a tool that allowed you to search for fact checks on a keyword, a topic, or a person. So this is AI powered, this new feature in Google's Fact Check Explorer that allows you to search for fact checks related to an image. So if I click here, and then I'm going to grab one of my links, one of my image links. So you can see this is that shark swimming video. And what's interesting here is we have, okay, so it's got a number of, and this is older, so not surprisingly, a number of organizations, fact check this. So no matter whether I look for a keyword or an image in Fact Check Explorer, I get these little snippets, who fact checked it, Snopes in this case, how they rated it, a summary of the image, and then a link to the source. But we also have image contexts. So this is, and let's see if this comes up. This has been rolled out incrementally. So I believe I can put this image in the chat and I'll let someone try it if they want to try it. I'm not sure if it's rolled out yet completely in Canada. But let me take this. If anyone wants to try it on their own computer in Fact Check Explorer, I'd be curious to see if you are able to see image context yet. But you can see basically this is at a glance information about when Google first indexed this image, the first social media reference found, top subjects it was associated with, or tags. And here you can see the link to the references. So this is a pretty cool new feature, gives you a timeline, not only just, yes, this has been fact checked, but a timeline of where the image has appeared on the web. So this will exist if there has been a fact check done on an image. If you put any image URL in Fact Check Explorer and it hasn't been fact checked yet, you won't necessarily get a result here. You won't get a result here. I'm going to come back to Google Fact Check Explorer and how you can think about using it, in an effort to just not only tackle misinformation, but get this idea of pre-bunking, getting ahead of misinformation. So this is image context. We just looked at that. The preview of image context. Another tool I kind of touched on, but using Google Street View. So in the photo we saw of Camden Market, for example, it would have been possible to, if you wanted to get really deep, you can use Google Street View to go to that street and look again for landmarks that would indicate, was this image taken where it says it was taken. In the case of this image, I'm going to, again, give you a little challenge here. I'm going to share this link with you. And okay, Brian says fact check tools on that image works. That's good. Thanks, Brian. So I'm sharing this image with you, and I'm going to ask you, can you give me the exact address where this was taken, or at least a street where this was taken? What street was this taken on? So you've got some clues here. A business name you could search. A phone number you could search. An area code, yep. You can kind of see, if you zoom in the top right, there's sort of a partial street address you can see. And we've got, amazing. So yeah, 920 Mont Royal in Montreal on Mont Royal Avenue. That's it. And if we walk through how to do this, so here I am in Google. I might first type in, Asiana. And I can see here I have a business location. Oh, up here. No. So here I have a business name matching the name in the image. I can take that address, pop it into Google Maps, take my little yellow person here and drag and drop, or I can just click on the panel there showing the street. And from here, I can actually zoom in and look around. So I can see here the business name. I can see the business next door. I can see, if I get a little closer, if I can see behind this truck, I can see, part of that 9 that was in the address that we saw next door. So I've got lots of clues here, lots of good clues. But street view, another good way to verify details in an image to figure out if that is where it was supposedly taken. Okay. One of the, looking at fact-checking organizations and how they do their work, one of the things that is clear is they're always saving records, and even often not linking to the original post that they're fact-checking, but linking to a record. So these are 3 examples of, the first 2 are sites that you can go to. PermaCC requires an account, a free account, I believe. Archive.ph is just a web app you can use to paste a URL and get an archived version of that page or that post. Archive.org is the Internet Archive, aka the Wayback Machine. So it used to have a Save Page Now button. This is the old homepage of the Wayback Machine. And down here it had the Save Page Now where you could put in a link, save page, and you would have an archived version of that page. As you can see, the homepage the homepage has changed. So we still here at the top have the option of, entering a URL and seeing previously saved versions of that URL, another helpful fact checking or verification tool. But the way I've found, or the only way I found to access the save page function on the Wayback Machine is through this browser extension. But it's actually kind of more convenient. I just downloaded this, and it basically means you just, whatever page you're on, whatever you want to post or web page, you just click on the browser extension and then you can save page. So it's a little easier, in fact, to have the browser extension. Any questions about any of that so far before we get into some other social media search tools?
No, thank you.
Okay. So in terms of social media search tools, when you're looking at an image or a video, trying to figure out if it's true or not, looking at the source, is this, when was the profile created? How many followers do they have? What's the other content posted? Is it an original profile photo? Can you image search that profile photo to see if it's been taken from a stock website, to see if it appears on any other social media accounts? So always asking yourself about the provenance of a claim is important. In the past, at least my impression is and maybe you want to weigh in on this well, but it's been getting harder to track misinformation and disinformation on social media sites. So I know a lot of newsrooms used CrowdTangle, for example, to kind of track down the path that a misleading post might take on social media. So this is an interesting article just looking at how a nonprofit fact-checking news outlet, used CrowdTangle to dig into campaigns of misinformation. CrowdTangle is, I can pop this in the chat in case you're interested in reading more. CrowdTangle is being closed, or won't exist as of August of this year. I did a brief search, what's replacing CrowdTangle. There are options that are more technical. We don't need to look at this. There are options that are more technical, but so far I haven't necessarily seen anything like, coming down the pipe that's going to replace the work that CrowdTangle does. There are ways to search social media websites, though, if not to track, the path of a singular post, but to find or not corroborating information. So if you see a claim that, a massive riot is happening in Montreal, or you see a claim, a really incendiary photo that claims to be from this time in this place, there are tools you can use to try and find corroborating information. Did anyone else see that happening then and there? So just let me pop into another screen. So one of them is this GeoFind tool. I'll drop this in the chat. Let me, sorry, Chris, I missed your question about the CrowdTangle alternatives. I'll find that link and share it at the end. I see Brian has weighed in with data miner. If the other tool is, I don't know if I get the right link, if this, then that, but basically creating search bots feeding into a Discord was one of the responses on that Reddit thread. But I'll find the thread and post it in the chat again so you can read for yourself. And thanks, Brian, for weighing in. If anyone else has heard any alternatives for CrowdTangle, you can post in the chat as well. But with this GeoFind tool, basically what it allows you to do is search for YouTube videos that have been, search for YouTube videos geographically. So in this case, I'm not going to start with any keywords, but I'll just search, this is a bit hard to see in dark mode, but I'll just search for Montreal. And then within, 10 kilometers of Montreal. So I'm just going to hit zoom, hit enter, and make sure my map goes to Montreal. And I'm submitting. We should get a list of results here. So again, I haven't used any keywords with this, but what we're seeing here is just a list of videos that posted on YouTube from within 10 kilometers of Montreal. So these don't necessarily have Montreal, in the title or in the text. These are located by, whatever device the YouTube video was uploaded from, that device's location settings. But if we try a keyword here, let's say, again, protest, we'll see what we get. Okay, I don't get any results with that. Anyway, it's an option. That is the YouTube GeoFind locator, and I put that in the snow. Try snowstorm. Oh, that's a good one. Let's see what we find. Because there should definitely submit. Maybe, okay. If anyone's seen news or is in Montreal at the moment, there is quite a lot of snow. So here we have, that's a great suggestion. I'm glad you said that. A lot of snow videos happening. And we see here, you can see when they're tagged. So maybe, I don't know a lot about this tool. It's an open source tool. It's not a Google tool, but maybe the timeline has to do with it. If there, you don't see results, if it's something, if there's not timely relevant results coming up for that keyword. Another one is who posted what. So this is a way to search Facebook for keywords by date, to search for posts by location. In this example, again, just going with Montreal protest, we can try it with the snow example on a different timeline. But if I hit set my parameters for Montreal protest on May 3rd, 2023, and hit search, you can see here all of these posts are tagged May 3rd, 2023, that either have protests somewhere in the post. in the title or the text. So I've tried with, let me close that. You can see here you've got the option of searching for posts about whatever from the location ID. So to find a location ID, basically I just searched for my city. So when I used this page, you can see this Montreal page, it has this string of numbers in the URL. So I took that is the ID. So I entered that in my location ID and then try keyword snow. We'll see what we come up with. And I could do this by date as well, but you can see these are all posts from Montreal mentioning snow. However, lots of places have multiple location pages. When I used this Montreal page ID up here, I didn't get many results. We can try it again. So, okay, we do have different results for that different city ID. So you might want to try multiple IDs if there's multiple pages. So that is whopostedwhat.com, and I'll drop that in the chat as well. And then, for those of you, it is still possible to use. Some of you who may have done a training with me have seen some of these Twitter search operators. So these are search operators you can use to search Twitter in a more focused way. As far as I know, and I've tested some of these in the past couple of days, these are still working, but I share these with the caveat that a lot of functions on Twitter/X have deprecated. But again, for example, working on this idea that you see a post indicating something's happened, you want to find information or posts or video images to corroborate that. You can search Twitter in a specific way. So, for example, tweets from a specific location, and a specific time. Searching for someone's birthday as a way to find out if that account, if that user is a real person or a bot. So if we look at some of these examples, searching for someone's birthday, I went with. I'm going to go search. So people searching to Olivia Chow with the words happy birthday. And I can see here a number of posts. I can find out when the birthday is as well. So this is, again, a tip that someone shared with me, a reporter shared with me to figure out if an account is real or not. Do they have real people on Twitter, wishing them a happy birthday? So this is the search operator searching for tweets to this user with happy birthday somewhere in the post. Or if we look at the geocode option, so this is the search operator geocode. I'm going to give it a latitude, a longitude, and then again a radius to search to find tweets that have been posted from that location. So if I go back to maps, I can right click on Montreal, anywhere kind of downtown Montreal. And when I right click, I get this dialog box with the latitude and longitude. So if I click there, and then paste in Twitter in my search field, really important to delete this space and then provide some kilometer radius. So I'll say 10 kilometers. and then my keywords. So let's do snowstorm again. So here I'm getting tweets with my keywords, snowstorm, that have been posted from within 15 kilometers of downtown Montreal. And then I could add to this. So we saw the option to searching a specific timeline. So those search operators are since, and then the year, the month, the day, up until the year, oops, the month, the day. No, it is snowing in April. We are in April. We'll do the 5th. I think I did the date codes there. Yeah, so here we have tweets from within 15 kilometers of Montreal. That's the first part with the keyword snowstorm between January 1st, 2024 and today, April 5th, 2024. Any questions about those? Okay. In the research and investigation session on May 3rd, I get into more search operators like this for Twitter, for TikTok, and of course for Google, just doing a Google search. Oh, searching for someone's earliest tweets, you can kind of back up and find their earliest tweets here. So in the last little bit, I'll talk a little bit about pre-bunking. Let me close some of these. So obviously, you know, misinformation is a big threat. This was a survey of 19 countries from Pew Research Center. Spread of false information online, it's a big threat. What we're seeing, and you know what I'm hearing from anyone who works in the misinformation or fact-checking world, is that it's you know, it kind of feels like a never-ending battle. So basically, as you know, much as you can fact check, there's always going to be new content, new false content coming up. Pre-bunking is, you know, now part of definitely Google's misinformation narrative, and you know, something that Google is working on. So communication designed to kind of build mental antibodies, so to inoculate audiences against misinformation or disinformation by showing them what it is, showing them the signs, what it looks like, and how they can be aware. So forewarning them, equipping them to spot and refute misleading arguments. In a three-part formula, some of the things the formula for misinformation is, you know, warning people that if they feel really emotionally charged by content, that's a sign that it's an attempt to manipulate them. In the pre-bunking message, users are equipped to spot and refute a message, and to identify messaging, manipulative messaging in the future. So here are a couple of examples. I'll share these links with you. These are both from nonprofit organizations or government organizations. So these aren't necessarily journalistic organizations doing the pre-bunking. I don't want to run out of time, but I'll share these links with you so you can take a look at them yourself. But essentially, the advantages of pre-bunking are building a more informed audience rather than trying to constantly, you know, thwack down misinformation or disinformation as it comes up, kind of getting ahead of it. In terms of, you know, just tackling misinformation in your own newsrooms. Oops, I stopped sharing there. You can think about consulting Fact Check Explorer, searching by your city or your region, your province. I'm just going to go back to this screen share for a second. Thinking about who in your audience is susceptible to misinformation attacks or disinformation attacks. And if you see a fact check that is relevant to your readers, maybe you want to do an article about that. Maybe you want to run a piece about that. So you can do this, in order to find out, okay, what are the fact checks I should be aware of? What are the misinformation, disinformation claims that I should be aware of? Visiting Fact Check Explorer, searching by, let's try a city. We'll see if we get any results. Okay, so this might give me clues as to what disinformation spreaders are targeting in my city or my province and who they're targeting. Also just being aware of, again, thinking of sort of big picture, who's tracking misinformation. NewsGuard Tech is an interesting organization that's covering misinformation and disinformation and tracking the agencies that are doing this as well. I'm curious if just in the last minutes, anyone has any comments they'd like to share, any efforts their newsrooms have made to tackle misinformation. And Paul, I can make a transcript available of the chat, for sure, as well as a link to the video recording. But as we close up, is there anything that you all would like to share about what, if anything, you're doing in your newsrooms? What you're seeing on the screen there, by the way, you can get a certificate for this training. If you go to g.co/newsinitiative/cert, you can get a little misinformation training certificate. Okay, so Colin mentioned some of the Liz's question from earlier about how much does AI change the way you verify images, making it easier or harder? Are you talking, and if people have to go, obviously, I understand, but I'll stay on to answer this question. Liz, are you talking about more AI generated images and video, or AI tools, or both? Okay, so I would say the AI generated images are certainly getting better. So I think that is a real threat. I think a lot of these tools that I talked about are still relevant to checking AI images. There are in the handout I'll email you after, there are other sources for just looking at different examples of AI generated images to see some of those tells and to practice identifying some of the tells. So fingers, feet, ears. Often the perspective is off in AI generated images, so there's not a lot of background, or the background is out of perspective for whatever is in focus. In terms of AI tools to kind of tackle misinformation or identify posts that are, false news, false narratives. Deepware AI is one of them. This is one of the links included in the handout as well. So I am noticing more AI tools that are coming on board to identify fake images or manipulated images or video. And then, as well as I mentioned with Fact Check Explorer, just AI tools being integrated into existing tools, like the image search in Fact Check Explorer, to make it easier. So I would say, AI is, both in terms of making fake content is easier, but also AI tools are also making it working to make it easier to identify the fake content as well. Exactly. So thank you so much, everybody. I'll end it there. Unless there are any other questions, I'm happy to stay longer. I hope you all got something useful out of this, and I will send the recording out along with the notes, links, the chat later today.